Hello everyone, I'm Kenny, and happy Wednesday. Oh wait, never mind, today's actually Thursday. I hope everyone's been working hard enough for the past 3 months to forget what today's date is as well. Anyways, congratulations to all students, teachers, parents, and everyone else that made this far. This is an important year for all of us that'll open up countless opportunities, and I hope this year has been, so far, special to everyone. Today, I'll just be talking about 2 things. Not being afraid to fail, and somewhat ironically, why valedictorians don't generally go on to change the world. In my years at Shen, I learned the importance of learning how to fail. While it's certainly not the most exciting experience, the ability to fail and be imperfect is what defines us as humans, and the lessons we can learn from it are quite valuable. Most of these lessons can be taught in traditional classrooms, and they will only help you in the future as long as you have the right mindset. Perhaps the reason why so many people are afraid of failing is because they're conditioned from a young age that failure is something that's embarrassing and that they simply shouldn't fail. In fact, almost everyone is expected to perform well and achieve success to some extent, and we sometimes struggle to meet their demands. But if everyone were perfect and no one makes any mistakes, then wouldn't the world be that much more monotonous? Knowing that you won't fail may be relieving at first, but then what will be the point of living? I guess this is somewhat ironic given that it's coming from a valedictorian, but I can assure you that I've failed countless times in the past and still continue to do so on a daily basis. This brings me to the point of why valedictorians can inherently change the world. According to a researcher named Karen Arnold, although most valedictorians do become successful, they rarely go on to change the world. In fact, a recent survey of 700 millionaires shows that their average GPA is a 2.9, suggesting that there's something more important than just grades, like creativity, for instance. It's easy enough to get good grades by following all the rules and doing exactly what all the teachers tell you to do. But reality doesn't work like that. Life isn't always fair. At times, you'll even have to break rules. The most important part of bringing about change, being the so-called game changer, requires you to think creatively, break rules, and quickly seize opportunities as they appear. As you look back on your once seemingly endless journey, think about how you would define success and what you'll do to shape our generation. In any case, getting through the pandemic has been a unique experience, and this is definitely something to be proud of, especially with everyone trying to help each other despite no one really knowing what to do. While this year's graduation certainly won't be as exciting as many have wanted it to be, don't be too sad that you weren't able to hear this speech live. It'll also be special in the sense that it won't be like any of the past graduations. I mean, who would have thought of a drive-through graduation, right? But maybe we can all look back on this one day and remember what it feels like to be graduating during a pandemic. At least I can say that this year's graduation will be especially memorable for everyone, and that we'll have another one of those childhood memories to tell. I still remember when I first came to High School East 3 years ago and got lost like every other day in 10th grade, especially on the second floor. But after 3 short years, after cramming for numerous exams and quizzes, after working through endless lists of homework and projects, after writing countless essays for English, by far my most favoritist class, we finally made it. Now it's time to move on and begin a new chapter that'll undoubtedly be a challenging yet rewarding experience. Good luck with whatever you choose to pursue, and have a great life.
Hello everyone, my name is Lanning Torebka, and I am your class of 2020 valedictorian. I know this might not be what we were expecting for a graduation or the end of the year, but I'm glad to still be speaking to you somehow. I would like to start off by thanking those who have helped me make this accomplishment of mine possible and who have provided me with a great experience in school and in life. I would like to thank my parents for always supporting me and believing in me in every aspect of life. Whether it be school, sports, growing up, whatever you can name, my parents were there to help guide me and support me as well as they could. I would also like to thank my friends and classmates for being there along the way to have fun with me, learn with me, provide me with memories, and motivate me. I would finally like to thank the staff within the South Glens Falls School District. Mr. Modi, my teachers, my coaches, the lunch ladies, and the janitors for helping me have a fun, safe, challenging, and memorable school experience. High school is home to some of my best memories. All of the marathons, lunch periods, sports games, bus rides, fun class periods, and many more. It is even home to some not so awesome memories. The all-nighters, the cramming before tests, the stress about finals. But these challenges and times of hard work were necessary to accomplish my goals and to get me to where I am today. And I am glad that I have realized that these tough times are just a part of life. If I'm being honest, it's a little intimidating and sad to be moving on. And I'm sure many of you, including parents and family members, feel the same way. I would like to say a quote that I feel applies to this current state of excitement, nerves, and sadness that many of us are experiencing. No astronaut launches to space with their fingers crossed. That's not how we deal with risk. This is a short but fitting quote by astronaut Chris Hadfield. Grades 1 through 12 might not be the end-all, be-all of education. You're not going to leave high school as Albert Einstein. High school is meant to prepare us and qualify us for the life that follows it. So although the future, no matter what it may hold, may seem intimidating and unknown, I'm confident that my class and I are well prepared for that step, and that confidence stems from the great education that I have been provided with at South Glens Falls. And like I said, that's more than just teachers. It was everyone involved in my South High experience. So thank you to all of those that have made my South Glens Falls experience something to remember and be confident about. I have always felt that the class of 2020 was a special class, that our body of students always had great potential, talent, and dedication. Our perseverance through this tough time has only proven this belief, and I wish this special class of 2020 good luck in the future. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today I would like to begin my speech by speaking on behalf of the entire class of 2020 and giving a huge thank you to all of the teachers, staff members, administrators, friends, and family who have made this day possible. Not only have you all played a role in getting us to this point today, but you have also worked extremely hard to make this graduation possible for us this year, and we thank you for that. Without your support, without your guidance, without your help, without you, none of us would be where we are today. Back in January, I wrote a commencement speech for speech class. I decided to write about resilience. I wrote about how we as individuals, as a school, and as a community have been faced with many obstacles throughout our years at JHS, but we've always been able to overcome anything life has thrown at us. Think of yourselves as individuals and obstacles you have overcome over the past 4 years. Think of friends, families, teachers, and staff members who have gone through difficult times and overcome them as well. Think of last year, when our community came together to save the sports and programs that make school more enjoyable for so many of us. All of these scenarios are just a few examples of how we have all proven ourselves to be resilient as individuals, as a school, and as a community. Although, when I wrote that speech in January, I had no idea that in just 2 months, that resilient nature would be put to the ultimate test when we were forced to leave school as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In such a short amount of time, we were faced with a tremendous amount of uncertainty. Not being able to be with our friends, teachers, and classmates every day was a big adjustment for all of us. This has been our biggest act of resilience yet. We as students had to leave the school we know and love and learn from computer screens, which wasn't easy. We had to find the motivation to get off of TikTok and do our schoolwork, which wasn't easy. Our teachers had to learn how to use all of these new resources and keep us on track, which wasn't easy. Mr. Hale, Dr. Gielen, and so many others worked very hard to make these graduation events special for us, even under these circumstances, which wasn't easy either. Once again, we all proved our resilience. Today, we should all be incredibly proud of ourselves for everything we have accomplished over the past 4 years. Even though we all wanted to give up at one point or another, even though we didn't know if we could get through it, we did. We all proved ourselves resilient once again. And as JHS students do, we have made the best out of whatever life threw at us. I feel that I speak for all of the graduates when I say that on top of everything I have already mentioned, we have learned so much more and made so many memories that we will never forget throughout our years at JHS. We will never forget Senora Smith's inspiring yet often hilarious stories, Mrs. Miles forcing us to protect the Miles tree during fire drills, Mrs. Fagan's contagious laughter, or how to properly ask to go to the bathroom. Thank you, Mr. Litz. I could go on for hours explaining all the things I have learned from them and all the things I will never forget. Through good times, sad times, challenging times, and all of those in between, our teachers have been here for us for the past 4 years, creating a strong foundation for us, and we are incredibly grateful for this. Along with the support we have received from our teachers, we've also received incredible support from the friendships we have made during our time here at JHS. We have all made so many amazing memories together. I could never begin to count the inside jokes that have developed over the past few years, or the amount of times you have all made me cry from laughter. We will never forget our field trips together or the crazy bus rides that followed. And I hope we can all agree that we will never forget how much these friendships and each other's support has meant to us. Finally, I would like to take a moment to thank all of our families and loved ones for getting us to where we are today. We couldn't have done it without all of you, and we are grateful for each and every one of you. I would personally like to thank my parents for always sticking by my side, for encouraging me even when I didn't believe in myself, and for listening to me complain about schoolwork even though we all knew I had 2 weeks to finish it, yet I waited until the last minute to start. I wouldn't be where I am today without you. I would also like to thank my little sisters for always being there for me and for constantly making me laugh, even when I try so hard to be mad at you. And thank you to the rest of my family for being the best support system anyone could ask for. We have been through so much the past 4 years. We have learned and experienced things that we will hold on to forever. Everything that we have been taught and that we have experienced up to this point has shaped us into the people we are today. With the support of our school, teachers, family, and friends, we are able to take their examples and overcome anything that life will throw at us. None of us know what the future will bring, but we should know that we will be ready for whatever it is. Whether you are going to college, entering the workforce, joining the military, or you haven't decided what you're going to do next, just know that everything up to this point has prepared us for what is to come. Each of us will be able to succeed in anything we set our minds to because we are graduates of the JHS Class of 2020.
On the behalf of the Class of 2020, I would like to thank you all for joining us on this auspicious occasion. We would like to thank the faculty and staff, with the support of the administration and the Board of Education, for putting together this wonderful ceremony during this unexpected time. I would like to thank my family, along with all the families here tonight, for taking on an extra responsibility this time of year and making our senior feel as ready as possible for the next stage in life. We're brought here to celebrate the accomplishments of our class, despite the challenges we faced these past few months. Although these times are difficult for everyone, this is a proud moment for all of the graduates. Graduation marks the passage into adulthood, the time where we, as individuals, get to decide where we want to go in life. We decide who we make friends with, what remains important to us from our childhood, what career we pursue, the morals and values we decide to live by. Looking at where the world is today, all of these decisions we have to make sound terrifying. As mentioned before, our generation has lived through crisis after crisis, and it seems like we can't catch a break. All this means, however, is that we have to grow up a little faster than expected. You may ask, how is this fair? I hate to break it to you, but life's not fair. Nonetheless, these challenges have only transformed us into the individuals we are today. Michelle Obama once said, "You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversity is actually one of your biggest adventures." We've had many adventures in the 13 years leading up to today, and we've learned many lessons along the way. I'd like to share a few lessons that I've learned that have been the most meaningful to me. I hope they'll be useful for you too. The first lesson is about perseverance. I've dealt with many challenges throughout my high school career between being a student and an athlete. What would have happened if I had broken down at the sight of those challenges? I'll tell you, I would have missed out on some of the best times in my life. I have made so many friends and memories along the way, so I would never want to trade the experiences and difficulties I've faced for anything else. They say when one door closes, another door opens. So instead of stopping at that one door, why not try another one? The second lesson is about creativity. We are the generation that is going to be creating a new world. Statistically speaking, we are the most diverse generation, and our diversity brings a limitless viewpoint to the world. We are the generation raised with the new technology. and we've learned to take advantage of this technology in order to make ourselves heard across the world. Our creativity is virtually boundless. We've taken initiative in issues that aren't expected of people our age. I mean, just look at the news. We've questioned social norms and refused to be complacent in a society with which we may not agree. We refuse to remain captive in an environment that doesn't allow us to grow. It may sound overwhelming going into the real world and having all of this become a reality, but clearly we are more than prepared to tackle whatever challenges come our way. The future is entirely up to us. The last lesson that I've learned is to never take anything for granted. This is something that I, along with the rest of my classmates, had to learn the hard way. On March 13th, we walked out of the school building for the last time, not knowing what would unfold in the next few weeks. Although it sucks now, it's a valuable lesson to carry with us as we get older. Nothing is guaranteed in life. Everything is subject to change, and that unfortunately included the end of our high school careers. I was looking so far ahead to things like senior trip, prom, and graduation, and as a result, I didn't appreciate the little things in the classroom or with my classmates. Going forward, this mindset has to change. In order to live life to the fullest, we need to appreciate what we have in the moment, not just in retrospect. Of course, looking to the future is something that keeps us motivated, but we can't let the idea of our future consume us, because it can all change in the blink of an eye. Live life in the moment with no hesitation. Since you all most likely remember only my last few words, I want to end with a quote that I find very useful during a time like this. We need to take things one day at a time, and even though it may be frustrating, there is an exciting future awaiting us for when this is all over. The quote reads, "Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today. Let us begin." Congratulations to the class of 2020.
Hello and congratulations to the class of 2020. It's hard to believe that 4 years have passed already, but we made it. It's disappointing that we all can't be here in person, but our time together these past 4 years mattered. Although it seems like virtual school and quarantine have been a struggle, we've been able to persevere and carry on. At first, I was happy to not have school. I believed that we would go back after we were shut down for a week or two, and this time would allow me to catch up on schoolwork or to binge Netflix. Then reality hit and virtual school began. I know there may be some of you who might have completely excelled in virtual learning and maybe even love it more than regular school. But I feel as if we all missed out on one basic thing: the ability to say goodbye. When it became clear that we weren't going back to school, I didn't feel too bad for us at first. But then I realized that every other graduating class likely knew what their last was, whether it was their last time visiting a favorite teacher, their last time going to a favorite class, or simply their last day of school. We don't know how many people we've seen for the last time or had our last conversation with, and I personally would never have guessed that a Friday in March, Friday the 13th to be exact, would have been the last normal day of our senior year. There's an enormous list of opportunities that we are upset that we didn't get to experience this year. Spring sports season, prom, senior awards night, the senior prank, watching the play, and especially a real graduation where we were all able to walk across the stage. I've watched the graduation since freshman year from the pit where the band sits in between the audience and the stage. Last year, my best friend and I walked up the stairs at Proctor's and looked out at all of the graduates lining up outside, and at that time, I knew I would be there next year. I wish you were all here with me today because this wasn't how it was supposed to be, and this isn't how it was supposed to be. However, we cannot change what has happened. On a lighter note, we should all be immensely proud of our ability to adapt to such a drastic change in our lives. Overnight, we went from attending concerts and outdoor activities and hanging out with our friends to being quarantined in our homes. Wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart became the new norm instantaneously and has now become the new way of living. But I'm going to admit, I cannot give a farewell address if we personally were not able to say goodbye. What I can say, however, is that we made it this far. And I know it required effort, a lot of it. I know it was very stressful at times. Even so, our time here mattered. The impact that we had on the school, on our teachers, on our friends, and the rest of the people that we interacted with daily mattered. Just because this ended so abruptly doesn't take away from that fact. And what we take from this insane pandemic, which only happens once every 100 years or so, matters. What we do next matters. I know the world can be scary and dark and impossible, and worst of all for me, unknown. I don't know what jobs will be waiting for us, how college will look if we decide to go, what the school year will look like next year, or how society will look in general. Nevertheless, what I do know is that we all have proven in these last few months that we have the strength to do anything. No matter what obstacles come next, we will be able to push through them. However, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, there comes a time when silence is betrayal. Today, there is a great injustice that we have the opportunity to overcome. African Americans are suffering from the problem of police brutality against them and other people of color in our society. This should be important to all of us because we are the generation that has the ability to end the oppression that African Americans are facing today. George Floyd's life mattered. Breonna Taylor's and Tony McDade's and all of the other unarmed African American lives who were killed by the police mattered. Ahmaud Arbery's life mattered, and all of the other Black lives murdered as a result of the color of their skin mattered. We have to determine the best way that we can help because we can have a positive impact. Go register to vote and go vote. Sign petitions, donate money, attend protests and marches. The peaceful protest that was held here in Schenectady is a wonderful example of our generation sharing their thoughts and creating change. And for there to be change, every one of us is needed to create it. Although this is the end of our high school career, we are moving on to a new chapter and we should strive to create change for the better, whether it's your personal passion or a widespread issue in the world today. As you move forward in life, I hope that there are at least some memories that you can cherish from this year and past years at your time here at Schenectady High School. I know that we've changed a lot. Think of who you were freshman year when you first walked into school. Think of the friends that you've made at your time here or the friends that you've kept since middle or even elementary school. Think of what we learned. To get this diploma, you had to have learned something. So today, be proud of what you've accomplished during your high school experience. Although it was cut short, we have achieved a lot and overcome many obstacles. On a more personal note, I would like to thank every teacher I've had from kindergarten until now. I've spent all 13 years of school here in the Schenectady City School District, which has raised me and nurtured me, taught me how to interact with others, how to help others, and most importantly, how to learn. Thank you to my grandparents, my mom, my sister, and my friends. Without them, I would not be on this stage today. Again, congratulations to everyone in the class of 2020. I am proud of you, and I wish you all the best in your future.
Greetings, faculty, family, friends, and of course, my fellow class of 2020. I am honored to be speaking before you today, although sadly, under far from ideal conditions. I know you are probably expecting me to give a speech detailing how our class has persevered through these demanding times, or how we are robbed of our senior year. But I want to stray from these topics and focus rather on a single concept: time. According to Einstein's general theory of relativity, massive objects curve space-time, which is perceived as a force known as gravity. Like much of the rest of our lives, however, this pandemic has flipped this idea on its head. The gravity of this pandemic has distorted our perception of time. Over the past few months, society has been brought to a near standstill. Global scientific research has been halted in its tracks, millions of jobs are on edge, and even things as seemingly simple as getting a haircut have been made nearly impossible over the past few months, all due to viruses with a diameter 600 times less than that of a human hair. I bring this example up to illustrate the susceptibility of time to earthly and societal factors, although, as promised, I'm going to keep much of this discussion away from current events. The problem with what I just said, however, is that for all intents and purposes here on the surface of the Earth, time passes at the same rate. A day has 86,400 seconds, and a year has 365.2422 days. So why then does time seem so variable? Why is it that when faced with feelings of excitement and joy, time seems to whisk away before you can fully grasp onto those feelings? And when faced with adversity, time feels lethargic and endless. Why is it that the age-old expression, time flies when you're having fun, almost always seems to hold water? I'm not going to pretend to be able to answer those questions, but in response to them, I would like to ponder why it is we care so much about time. Perhaps it is because time provides us with a sense of structure. We live our entire lives obsessed with and controlled by the idea of time. We put so much trust into it, letting it dictate priorities and the order in which we go about aspects of our lives. But why then are we as humans so susceptible to changes in how we perceive time? We've all fallen victim to this before. You hear that an assignment is due in 2 weeks and you think that you have ample time. But as time slowly ticks by in your head, a deadline is fast approaching in reality, and each minute wasted only augments the challenges of the task at hand. Ultimately, as humans, we're faced with a dilemma. We know that time is finite and passes at a fixed rate, Yet we can't help but feel that it speeds up and slows down with respect to what we are facing in our lives. So on to the actual point of all this. By nature, society is plagued with grand challenges that must be overcome. However, due to our perception of time and inclination to focus our attention on more instantaneously gratifying topics, we far too often perceive these immediate threats to society as problems for another day. In reality, though, time continues to pass, whether we want it to or not, or whether action is taken or not. So I ask of you, class of 2020, as well as everyone else listening, don't let your chance to make an impact on this world slip through your fingers because you thought you had just one more day. But equally as important, take the chance to slow down and make the most of life, because you never know when something may arise that will keep you from doing so. Class of 2020, congratulations. We have just completed an immense chapter of our lives. From the past 4 years that I have spent with my class at Columbia, I have come to realize the amazing things we can do together as a class, and I can't wait to see what you all can do out in the real world. Thank you.
I would like to thank God for allowing me to see this beautiful day. Without Him, I wouldn't be here. I would like to thank my parents and my grandparents for putting up with me for the past 18 years. They have been there for me where no one else would be, and I wanted to thank them for that. I want to thank Elder John Massey Jr., our founder of Redemption Christian Academy, and his wife, Sister Joan Massey. Thank you for the opportunity to attend RCA. You both have done so much for the school, the students, and the staff here, and I'm grateful to you. To all of my teachers and the staff members, from the beginning until now, thanks. Each of you have played an important part in my success. Without you, it wouldn't have been easy to learn. I'm very blessed to be in this position, realizing that in today's world, many teens do not receive the opportunity to graduate. I have many ups and downs throughout my school years. My senior year has been the hardest. No one could have expected the year to change so abruptly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, my family and my friends helped me through these uncertain times. Thank you to my peers for making my high school journey a long life memory. We shared many crazy times over these past 4 years. We played charades and debated about which NBA star was the best. So many times, I've heard guys say that they were going to the league. They were so confident. I was the nice one, so I always agreed with them. Then there were times when others needed help with their homework. I'd quickly turn to my fellow class tutors and ask, "Did you get that for number 5?" I was always double checking, especially with math. Math and I did not get along too well. However, the classes at RCA made it easy for me to learn. One of the many things that I love about RCA is that students were taught at their own level and given a chance to expand their academic capabilities. If we could go beyond our level of learning, RCA made that possible for us. When we didn't excel, our teachers pushed us to do better. And as a result of their patience, none of us fell behind. Sometimes our classes relied on using our hands instead of our pens. We had permaculture class where we learned survival skills, which plants are good for medicine and food, and which ones were poisonous. At RCA, I learned that appearance is everything. You will never have another opportunity to make a first impression. When we went out on field trips, everyone we encountered would compliment us. The people loved us. They would often tell us how they enjoyed seeing young people doing something good for the community and staying out of trouble. The highlight of our year, however, was when Elder Massey came to speak with us. Even though we weren't in class, we were learning. Even though we did not attend our regular classes, he taught us something new every time. We had the truth. We learned to never believe something just because someone said it was true. We were taught to be thinkers. One of the biggest problems with our generation is that we often don't think. We often rely on false information that we see in the media. We take things at face value instead of realizing them for how insane they really are. Elder Massey would often say that he would be satisfied if he could just reach 1/3 of the student body. I am proud to say that I am a part of that 1/3. I want to thank Elder and Sister Massey again for imparting their wisdom and for being great examples of what a great man and woman should look like. A big thank you to Minister Tristan and Sister Marquita for our Pathfinders program. Thank you for not only the activities at school, but also our off-campus adventures. Thank you for looking out for us students and making sure we were on the right track. I want to thank Sister Loris for helping me to become an award-winning poet, and Deacon Banks for teaching me when I wasn't speaking proper English. I want to thank Sister Holmes for making my arch enemy, easier to understand and somewhat bearable. Also, Elder Holmes, who spoke to me in French every day even though I didn't understand. Lastly, I want to thank Sister Walker. It seems she knew how to do everything, from sewing, gardening, and speaking Spanish. I was so blessed to be a student at RCA. I want to thank our entire graduating class of 2020 for pushing through these times and staying the course. We finally made it, guys. COVID-19 couldn't stop us. Congratulations to all of you. Remember to never give up. Just when things get hard, know that they will get better, especially with God. Always go with Him, even if you have to stand alone. Be strong and of good courage. Fear not nor be afraid, for the Lord thy God, He it is that doth go with thee. He would not fail thee nor forsake thee. Deuteronomy 31:6.